There's been a lot of discussion about that, and I think that there's a lot of things we all need to think about. First off, fires have been devastating on those lands, and they've been very, very costly, not just for the federal government, but for the state government as well. I remember about 4 years ago, the state spent almost $60 million just fighting fires on our own lands. We do this, I believe the state does a very good job in timber management on state lands. The federal government has a real problem with that because every time the Forest Service wants to try and harvest some timber, they get sued. And so recently we have come together with what's called the Good Neighbor Act, where the Forest Service actually uses the state's planning documents for timber management on Forest Service land. So they've selected some tracts of land that we use the state's planning documents on, that we don't get sued, and we're able to do things like we should be doing things in timber management. And the Forest Service has been very successfully logging some of their timber and then replanting those forests. Some say maybe we should own that timberland that the federal government has. It would bankrupt our state. One fire would bankrupt our state. We wouldn't be able to pay for that. So, in my opinion, if the federal government decided they wanted to give those lands away, which I don't think they will, we would have to put some pretty heavy conditions on what those lands would look like before we would be able to take them over and manage them. Number two, I think one of the reasons the federal government won't give those lands to the state is it's one of their only tangible assets. The federal government is over $20 trillion in debt. I would be more afraid of the federal government selling off some of those lands to pay off some of those debts than I would about Idaho in managing those lands. We've done an excellent job in managing our own state lands, which is a little over 2.3 million acres, as I recall. I would be much more concerned about the federal government managing those lands and selling those off than I would the state doing the same thing.